Hello everyone. My name is Monique Lonner, and I am the director of the Soul of Yoga's IAYT accredited yoga therapy training program and our 300-hour advanced yoga teacher training program. And I'm here today with both Leslie Kaminoff and Lauri Nemetz. We are working with them to offer a very exciting program. We have an in-person cadaver lab, but we're also offering a 20-hour live stream cadaver lab that we're really excited about. We're here to tell you a little bit more about it so you can get really excited about and join us in October for this great offering. I know you've done extensive dissection work with both Gil Headley and Tom Myers, both of whom have recently had live stream offerings from their labs. How does this live stream October compare with theirs? And would it be repetitive for someone to take this one if they've already seen Tom's or Gil's?
All right. Actually, thank you. And I'm happy to be here and in this capacity and happy to do something as well with two of you. It's different because we're also different. And I think the beauty of Dissection Lab is you can dive in countless times. Leslie, and for myself too, we've taken as well as taught. I've taught now for a number of years as well in dissection labs, and you never see the same thing twice. We wouldn't keep doing this if we weren't excited by all of this ourselves. So even in that aspect, it's different, but also we are offering a little bit more because both of our rich backgrounds in yoga, as well as yours, of course, and that history behind it. Let Leslie speak a little bit more to his own background. We all know him well from his past work with the Breathing Project and his book. As you may know too, I was past president of the Yoga Teachers Association. So we bring in a very real practical aspect. So we're going to be not only the skill set of Dissection Lab, which I'm hoping to pull people up into, but also to get some of that sense in real practicality through our experience. So I'm super excited about that. I've learned from some of these amazing teachers and mentors. I think I have my own little take on things and skill set. I've worked also with the Fascial Nephrostination Project extensively, and it's going to also be bringing people into another viewpoint. Frankly, it can take them all. I think there's such rich material out there right now. These are friends and colleagues of ours as well, but I think we have something a little bit unique to offer, so we're excited.
Yeah, cadaver dissection's never, ever been there, done that thing. The people who really get the most out of it are the ones who want to come back and do it again and again and again, like Lauri and I, and you as well, Monique. You've been in several labs. We should also mention that one unique aspect of this particular lab is that we'll be working with at least 2 cadavers simultaneously, one of which will be fixed, meaning embalmed, and the other unfixed, unembalmed. And there are distinct advantages to either way of diving into the body. There's things that you simply can't see on an embalmed cadaver that you can see in the unfixed. The colors, the textures, the movement that you can get in an unembalmed cadaver is something we're really looking forward to, because we want to focus a lot on movement, on breath, and the structures that give rise to that. And then by the same token, the embalmed form will give us a chance to see some of the more delicate tissues of the central nervous system, for example, that don't really, they don't really last very well when all you've got is refrigeration, right? So that's also a unique aspect. Plus, we're going to be doing a morning and an evening session. The morning session from the lab, 2 hours of live streaming, and then we're going to follow up with a second session later that evening where Lauri and I go over some of the extra footage we gathered during the day and do some movement exploration, some embodiment practices that will take all of the the very rich visual material we developed during that day, and literally put it into our bodies and our practices. So that is another quite unique aspect of what we're offering in the 20 hours of this thing.
Absolutely. And Leslie,
Yes.
most people know you as the co-author of Yoga Anatomy, this wonderful book that we use in our training program.
Mhm.
I know
Nice
many
product
training
placement right
programs use your book, right?
Yeah.
Right here. It's always
Yeah.
by me. Um,
Is that your
so it
autographed
has
copy is that the autographed copy I gave you?
no, someone stole that. Wasn't that
Oh,
terrible?
we'll have to
Very
do
bad
another one.
karma.
All right.
Yes, thank you. Um, so the book is really fascinating in that, you know, most people who haven't know there's very detailed analysis of muscle and in the poses and, you know, breath description. And I'm wondering how much of that will you be bringing into the teachings in this dissection? How much will it intersect?
I think there's two ways to answer that. The diving into the sort of micro-analysis that we do in the book is not something that really will have that much of an opportunity to do, except in certain, I think, key joints. Like when we're looking at the shoulder joint, for example, or the knee joint or the hip joint, we'll definitely have discussions about joint actions and maybe some myth busting about cueing language in light of actually seeing the thing in front of you. Will say, oh, that cue of opening the hip joint, does that even apply to this thing? Is that something the hip joint does, opening? We just opened it with a scalpel, is that what we mean? So yes, we'll definitely have those kinds of discussions. And a lot of the sort of big picture discussion that you can have when you're doing live dissection anatomy, which isn't in the book, will also be possible. So the other thing to note is that we will have a chance to make this interactive. There will be a Q&A possibility. People can submit questions while we're live streaming. We'll get to the ones that we can in the moment, but then we'll collect the rest of them and address those in the evening session. So basically it'll go in certain directions that are guided by the people that are logged in and participating online.
That's wonderful. I've done cadaver dissections with you both, with Leslie and Gil, and with Lauri and Tom, and I will say that my understanding of anatomy vis-a-vis teaching yoga and being a yoga therapist has grown by leaps and bounds from actually being with a human form rather than, you know, looking at the pictures in the book, because there's nothing like seeing it in real life and seeing how the movement is and how the muscles are connected. And I also want to say that as a yoga therapist and the curriculum developer for our training, that's studying with you, Leslie, for many, many years has given me such a deep understanding of how breath and movement patterns, both the dysfunctional and the functional, lead to health or disease, and how they overlay to mental states and emotional states. And I'm really looking forward to delving into this in the cadaver dissection with you both, because in doing other cadaver dissections, I feel like that's a piece that's going to be unique to this, that we'll be able to see patterns and lines and how breathing might intersect with movement.
Absolutely.
So I'm really excited about
that's
that.
something we're very excited about. And again, being that it's going to be the unique form that we'll have, that person's story. We don't have the standard classroom skeleton appear every time we we come into Cadaver Lab. There are changes and differences based on everything from breathing pattern to just the life that was lived to the DNA that you were dealt. So we're going to be exploring all of that, which is really rich material. And then taking it, like Leslie said, into exercises and embodiment and yoga and into practicality, so that we can put that into a library of our own bodies and how we might work with other people as well.
Okay, you mentioned the word library, which made me want to also share the fact that we'll be collecting a lot more footage between the two cadavers and the week that we're in the lab than we can live stream. But we will be turning that into more educational material down the road that the people who sign up for the stream will have access to as an add-on sort of a thing. So I'm very excited about the ongoing educational value of what we'll be collecting in the lab. Which leads me, the educational value idea leads me to a question for you, Monique, because you're really the one putting this whole thing together. So as the founder of that IAYT approved training program you mentioned, could you say something to some of the other people involved in various levels of practice or training about how many of these 20 hours are actually applicable to either CEU or core curriculum requirements for yoga therapy training programs or yoga teacher training programs?
Thank you. It's a good question. Yoga therapists have to complete 20 hours of continuing education, 24 hours actually of continuing education credits in order to recertify with IAYT. And this course at 20 hours is already approved by IAYT as continuing education hours. So in taking this course, you will take care of your requirements for recertification if you are a yoga therapist already. And Yoga Alliance also accepts these hours as continuing education credits.
And I heard a rumor that
really
the folks at IAYT were actually very excited about hearing that this thing was being offered. Am I allowed to say that?
You are, yeah. That was wonderful. Usually when we submit courses to IAYT, we just get, you know, like, yes, you're approved, you know, that sort of correspondence. And we actually got an email back from them saying, wow, this is so exciting. You know, this is the first cadaver lab that we've seen come through that is focused on yoga and yoga therapy. Most cadaver labs are not, you know, while they may talk about it, but this is the first one that's really being presented for yoga professionals.
Absolutely.
Right. And by yoga professionals, by the way. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say,
it's the same thing, right? It's being led
by yoga professionals,
anatomy teachers, movement teachers, clinicians who've worked teaching group and private practice for many years and leading the dissection. So it's unique in many regards. So again, very excited.
Very excited.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get a great group together and have a lot of fun.
We will. Yay.
Yeah.